Standard, as we all know, has started to evolve into a pretty non-interactive format, I want to say. People are just jamming their strategy against others. So what are you guys attributing Sphinx's Revelation to? I guess we'll start with Gerry, because you've been casting the most Sphinx's Revelation of any of us.
I have. It's been awesome. Normally I don't like these cruel ultimatum type cards, you know, but I do like drawing X cards, and the fact that you do get that turn of reprieve just because it's like a free roll. It's like draw X and fog, basically. And normally I wouldn't like doing that, but in this format it's so good because you have to find some way to go over the top of your opponent. Like, the deck that I've been playing has Restoration Angel and Augur, but like nothing as powerful as what they're doing. So I really need to like almost draw twice as many cards as them to overcompensate for that. And a lot of these decks just like give you the window that you need to cast that for like 4, and then that snowballs. 2 turns later you cast it for 6, and it just keeps going and going. So I've moved up from like 2, now I'm up to 3, considering the 4th. And wow. it doesn't matter, you know, like if you draw 1 or 2 early. Like, the card is so good, you're going to get to that point, and then you just bury them.
Yeah, speaking of growing them in size, obviously, like, that's what the entire Bant deck is premised on, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just casting it for more and more.
Things that stall, and then, yeah, it's just like 4, 6, 8, you're dead.
Yep. So, speaking of going over the top, I know that you've seen a lot of people going in some weird directions to try and get ahead.
Oh, yeah.
With Sphinx's Revelation specifically being a problem card. What are some of the best ways to start attacking it, or even defending from getting attacked?
I mean, the biggest problem with Sphinx's Revelation definitely is not interacting with your opponent. You give them more and more turns. They have to use less cards. Like, the control decks with Revelation aren't actually interacting with you to win the game. They're just staying alive, so if you're not doing enough, they're going to gain advantage. They have these counter spells. So you want to be really, really proactive against the card and just attack it. If you can't, if Supreme Verdict is too good against you, I love the uncounterable spells. I think that those are actually a really good fix. I'm not the biggest fan that they exist, but it's funny because this is the best standard format I've ever had. I don't like that you can't counter spells and that all these cards have Shroud, and there's so little interaction, but deck building's never been better. Like, you just see like these Omnifire, Thrag, Firestorm,
Doors.
Epic Experiment,
it's so
Chandra's
diverse,
Door.
yeah.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, that's one way to go over the top of Sphinx's Revelation,
That's
is
true.
play Omniscience. So
Yeah, and it's the coolest time to be playing Magic, mostly because we've also seen the format shift every week. So even though you have Thragtusk and you have Sphinx's Revelation never leaving, they're just the shell. That's actually, you have a Thragtusk shell and you have a Sphinx's Revelation shell. Other than that, the decks can just do whatever they actually want, and I love it. I love that we've seen Jund be good. We've seen Blue, White, Red be good. We've seen Control decks be good.
Sure.
Reanimator had its day in the sun. Black Red's had its day in the sun. Selesnia's had its day in the sun. I just love how it's a deck builder's format, and mulligans and sideboards are sideboarding probably take away, are more important than actually the gameplay sometimes, because when it's a Thragtusk Restoration, I just feel like both players like agree that Supreme Verdict got cast. Okay,
yeah.
Bam, now let's roll a dice, see who gets to take the next turn. You know, just
Yeah.
start over with our lands in play, because it gets really frustrating, but it's a good sacrifice, and that's why you're seeing bonfires come back. And I love it. There's just a mix of mythics just running around, and it's just like, the format's really fun. I enjoy it. I've so much happier with this than turn 1 Delver. Well, I don't have a removal spell. All right, let's play the next round.
That was very
boring.
fair.
I definitely like this format too, but I wouldn't mind there being an extra like 10 or 15 minutes on the clock, or being able to play on Moto or something. You know,
Sure.
It's really tough for anyone to get an advantage.
Deckless sideboards.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying if you're like playing mid-range mirrors,
No,
like,
I mean,
I understand that there are things that you can do or whatever, but it's like you could still not draw them. They could have the same thing as you, and then you're like back to square one again.
No, in this format, you hand your opponent the deck lists, and then you sideboard for game 1. I would love to see it. You just play 3 sideboarded games.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would be pretty peculiar.
You
Well,
just have 75 cards.
that was a good look at Standard, but Standard's only one of the formats coming up for our LA Invitational in just a couple weeks, so we're going to go ahead and talk about preparing for multiple formats.